Okay. Right. So don't know how many of you have been lip reading, but there may have been a problem with the audio. So rewind. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Spiritual Psychics TV with me, Ashley Robinson, your host on Being Spiritual. This is a spiritualist philosophy show. Be interested to know if the captions on Facebook or YouTube were able to sufficiently interpret what I was saying, but I was starting to do a couple of hellos. We had Stace and Caroline and a few other people. We'll be doing spiritualist philosophy and questions, folks. No guests this evening, but do drop some questions in. Let me know where you're watching the show from. Jennifer on YouTube says, good evening. Where in the world are you watching the show from tonight, folks? Good afternoon, good evening to you. Mary Dumfries says, there you go, you can hear me. Hopefully you won't regret that. I know a few of you are asking about readings. Bernadette Connolly, hello to you. I will be doing some psychic readings and some spiritualist mediumship tonight. I'll do that off the base of asking questions. Jennifer joins us from New York City. Well, good evening, good afternoon to you, Jennifer. Stacey Fernan says hello to Richard and sends some love. Hiya, Stacey. Jade Fleming said it's Auntie's anniversary on the 9th of December. Is that anniversary of passing, Jade, that you're making a reference to there? We were saying before I was off mute, don't feed the medium. Elizabeth says, greetings from Dublin, Ireland. Would love a read. We'll get some questions, Elizabeth, ready, as Richard, the producer, will pick your questions. And I wasn't being rude when I was saying that, and I'm sending you some love and light about loved ones. But good golden rule, never feed the medium any information. Let them try and give you evidence of life after that change we call death. Nicola Humphrey says hi to everybody. I'll do some psychic readings tonight and some spiritualist mediumship. I'll try and give you some evidence of life after death. Julie says, yeah, you can hear. Were you doing any lip reading, Julie? Did you get the gist of my hello, good evening, and welcome to Spiritual Psychics TV? Natalie Bentley says, evening all, evening. Just looking at your picture there, there's a fantastic looking dog as well. Sophie Parker, good evening to you. Sophie Parker, talented, developing spiritualist psychic artist. My cousin as well. And there's Daddy Ray Robinson. Hi, son. And Richard, have a great show tonight. And hello to Mum. I know Mum's not as fast on the keyboard, but she'll be there as well. Vicky Palmer says, good evening from Norfolk, UK. Hi, Vicky. So we've got a couple of friends across the pond in United States of America, some good friends and some new friends. Anyone watching the show for the first time tonight? Linda Wallace says, good evening. Hiya, Linda. I see a few returning names. And do love the opportunity to do this live, folks. I know a lot of you also watch this on playback. I get confirmation from all over the world that people enjoy listening to me while washing up. Andrea Hollis says, hope everyone is doing well. Hiya, Andrea. If you're sat on the armchair watching in, hello from Michigan. Are you there? Jarcia Arnett, good evening to you. Mo May, hi Ashley, hope you're well. Hiya Mo, a beautiful picture of a robin there, joining us on Facebook. Jennifer McCormick, good evening Ashley, Richard, hi everyone. Love the purple hearts. Siobhan O'Rourke, hiya Siobhan, you all right? Start getting your spiritualist questions ready, folks. Sue B, welcome. First time viewer of Being Spiritual. So you can ask me absolutely anything, Sue, and folks, any questions about life after life, life before life, death. Doreen Barker joins us from Texas. Good evening to you, Doreen. And I say questions about spiritualist philosophy as opposed to my Satan cousin twice removed that now lives in that place I call heaven. Can you find out what they had for tea in heaven? I won't be taking questions like that as such. Yolande Kurtilov, hi, good evening to you. Predominantly because that's not the way that I interact with our spirit communities. Susie Shelby, hiya. But of course, folks, if there's the opportunity to experiment, it's always good to put questions and test our communicators. Serendipity 589. I went on meditation retreat and experienced a warm energy. I also experienced Rabbit Fudge, who passed and come into my vision. He was surrounded by lights like crystals. Beautiful serendipity. Thank you for sharing that. I believe that as an intelligence energy, our life after that change that our body goes through called death also includes the opportunity to integrate with the animal kingdom. I think that in theory, Eddie is alive and has that intelligence, that personality, continues to have a life after life. Don't have so much experience of life after life like minerals and plants and trees and all bits and pieces, but there certainly are spiritual people that talk about the energy, the consciousness of things that are alive. And we know that there are psychics that can read the energy in objects. And can do that sort of type of reading, picking up, a piece of jewelry and the energy, the imprint, the things that have been left there. Serendipity says, I thought it was a pig at first. But you picked up on your rabbit. I'm hoping you're talking about your rabbit as opposed to me on your telly. Serendipity. Well-dressed pig is I. Stacey Ferdinand says, can a person be drawn more to animal spirits rather than human spirits? Well, Stacey, I think it's approaching 10:08 and mute is off. I'm going to take that as the first question of the evening. I've also got one here from some Sophie Parker, which I will take. So, Stacey, I'll do your question now and give you a quick read, and then I'm going to do one for Sophie. So, yes, Stacey, I think it's absolutely possible. There are mediums and healers that I suppose claim to specialize in animal communication or animal healing. Lots of people that can give spiritual healing, Reiki healing, that can give it to humans. Obviously, I think animals are absolutely compatible with that as well. Other people, and depending on their guide team, might have more of that information intelligence from animals. Now, personally, I'm not Dr. Dolittle. I don't actually speak to animals. I do get impressions from animals, almost like a telepathic link with animals, both alive and those that pass over to the spirit world. Often when pets come through, it's the human communicator that is passing on information about the pet. But they certainly have the ability to influence my mind's eye. And definitely, there are people who have a guide team that particularly link with that energy. So yeah, great question, Stacey, to kick off. I'm going to draw a card for you. Otherwise, I went to draw one. I draw two, so you'll get both cards. I'm working with a medieval deck this evening, and I've drawn two cards: the cards of liberation and voyage. What I want to say about those cards is there's an element there of you feeling liberated right now, and that was the presence of that card as it sort of came out. And the liberation card, I'm going to see if that comes. I have to hold it quite close to my head, and then it gets into the script. There we go. Liberation. You can see a person on a horse with another person overstepping the snake there. There's an open door. The portcullis is open, and I often feel about this medieval card in particular, the picture on there, it's this pair of lovers, and it's the lovers Davinosh in liberation, and they're languishing behind bars, perhaps in the past. Perhaps there's something toxic there, and the lovers are free. And as the lovers are free, they're going through the open fortress where they've been trapped, or they were seemingly trapped in what might have been a prison. And I want to say, Stacey, there's something around a relationship, you emerging, you transitioning away from that and feeling quite liberated. I also get the impression there that part of this voyage, part of this new journey, that is either about a new relationship or a different chapter within this relationship. As I say that, I also have a communicator coming with me, Stacey. This communicator is a woman. This woman claims to know you. She's talking about being a grandmother on your father's side of the family. She's talking about heart limitations and impact around her heart. She was telling me that it was almost like the end of a relationship where you felt slightly trapped, and the start of a new relationship. There's this liberation feeling as you sort of go on a horse. So you'd understand then, Stacey, I'm looking for you to understand anyway, certainly this new relationship and this voyage of journey and exploration. I've also got this travel over water, and I saw this boat. I don't think this is necessarily a boat trip, but I've got you traveling, Stacey, over water. You've said yes. I'm assuming you're saying yes to all of it, and you'd understand this communicator as well. But this element of escaping, Stacey, I think that's the really important thing, and it's joyous. It's a happy. You are in pursuit of happiness. Here you are on the horse and off to new adventures, and I want to say that you're surrounded by joy. This is an exciting element of exploring the arts of the possible, and it's yeah, you absolutely understand. Thank you very much. And it's all about occasions where, okay, thank you, outside influence and outside energy, but we've got the opportunity. We're set free, Stacey. You've been set free. Opportunities to explore the art possible, make new life. However, although the key was in the lock of the door and you've escaped the fortress, there was no bolt. The card therefore represents a situation where we have the ability to release from within ourselves. So I want to say you've been doing a lot of work on yourself and to enjoy this journey. enjoy the journey. You're coming alive, and the picture itself of the voyage. You've got the ship there, and you've got the old ancient map, and you're coming alive out this ancient map, and this beautiful sort of galleon sailing the ocean on a voyage of discovery. And there you are on your voyage of discovery as you explore the art of the possible. And I want to talk about innovation. I want to talk about the fact that I saw this journey over water, and actually this card suggests that you would understand that around your immediate scenario now, that this journey across water, it could be a holiday, or it could be those new aspects of yourself that are being found, that are being discovered. Another voyage across your inner world to uncolonized parts of the world, therefore uncolonized areas of your psyche, a spiritual awakening, Stacey. So escaping the toxic, and you've done that yourself. This is about you and investing in yourself. Stacey says she's been getting out and enjoying the small weekend holidays lately. Good. Best wishes to you, Stacey. Thank you very much for asking that question, and thank you for giving us that information. Now, the question that Sophie asked me, folks, was mediumship. Is there any other senses that you can use when giving a reading? Like, do you ever smell or taste things associated with people? And I want to say, yeah, absolutely. So you'll often hear when we talk about mediumship, and I'm a proud spiritualist medium, and I talk about giving you evidence of life after that change we call death, evidence of a personality, evidence of your communicator. When we work clairvoyantly, what we're often doing is we're seeing, clairvoyant, conscious of seeing. We're seeing spirit, sometimes with our physical eye, sometimes within our mind's eye. Clairaudient, hearing spirit, clairsentient, sensing spirit, and so on and so forth. So all of your senses that you use within this 3D world, this 3D dimension, absolutely compatible. Oh, bit of verification there from Stacey. Been working so hard on yourself lately. Thank you, Stacey, and I'm glad you've understood your message and communicator. And you saw me there, Stacey, that clairvoyantly I was starting to see your spirit communicator in my head, and I was working with a feeling sense. I was picking up the cards, which are quite a psychic sort of connection, but you're working through those senses. Now we can train all of our clairs. We can work with all of our senses, Sophie. And some of us do it more naturally. So I hear and see spirit clairaudiently and clairvoyantly more in my head. When I allow communicators to become really, really close, I start to smell and I start to taste. What I'll do, Sophie, you've kind of set us up for this evening. I'm going to try and work through the vast majority of my senses. Folks, so smell of vision, taste of vision tonight, folks, live on YouTube and Facebook with Spiritual Psychic TV. Not only are we being spiritual people together, we're going to try and have some sort of collective consciousness with all of our senses this evening. So really good question there, Sophie. And I know that you yourself, I just described you as a developing gifted psychic artist. We'll definitely have you back on the show soon. I know that you're working this evening till quite late, but we'll have you back on the show. We'll do some psychic art. I know that people really enjoyed that back at home. Now, I know, because you've put within your question that within your guides, you've been showing the same dream. And is there any sort of meaning of that? Now, I think if you think about working with your guide team and seeing the same dream, then there's repetition there. There's something that they're trying to influence you. There are lots of people that do dream interpretation. We've had it on this show. Another guy, Chris Robinson, no immediate relation to me. You can also Google lots of understanding about your dreams. But if you're seeing it on repetition, and the idea is that they're trying to put this image, and spirits often influence us within our dream state. So when we're seeing the same dream, I think that spirit can come quite close to us. Now, we all have active imaginations and a consciousness. And for me, the test I give to the spirit world is when something is more vivid, folks. So you close your eyes and you try and think about the color of your socks yesterday. You're accessing that sort of conscious and subconscious memory. When I say to spirit, give me a color of socks, I know that color is going to be more vivid than anything that my immediate sort of consciousness and subconscious imagination is going to come in. And those vivid dreams that we take with us, I often believe that it is indeed the spirit world linking in with us. Now, the card I draw for you, Sophie, is the father card. Okay, so described you as cousin. Your father is my dad's cousin, and I know there's this link there through him. Now, as I link that card, I get this sensation of family on father's side of the family. Now, within the card, father is pointing in the direction. You've got the bow and arrow there, and I want to talk about the second string to your bow. Sophie's just said that she's starting to get smells coming through during endurance. Absolutely fantastic that they're influencing those senses. And when we invite spirit to come close, Sophie, then they can influence in all of our senses. Now, I've got a communicator for you, and this communicator has influenced me to draw that card today. This is okay. Thank you very much. Okay, this is a man on father's side of the family that's claiming to be grandfather. Okay, and as he communicates with me and he draws close, okay. Oh, interesting experiment, Sophie. Okay, thank you. He tells me that he is going to put the same taste in our mouth simultaneously. Now, obviously people at home are going to have to trust you when you are able to verify this, but pennies. He's given me the taste of pennies. Now, I've no idea why I would even know what the taste of a penny is. I've obviously had a penny in my mouth, but that's taste of penny. Now, he tells me that he's just done that to you. Obviously, I've already disclosed the fact that you are family, you're second cousin, twice removed, but it'd be interesting to know whether or not you've got that sensation of penny right now, because that's what he said that he has just done. He also gives me the letter D. Okay, now D was my grandfather's name. He talks about being a grandfather with you, Sophie. He also tells me that there is a telephone number, seventh number that you have called, with the telephone numbers 7, 4, 3, 6, and 7. Those numbers in it. Now that's what he's telling me. I've not been at fun. We've not seen each other for a couple of months. I went and saw some of your wonderful art exhibition on the South Coast. He's telling me the seventh number that was called had those numbers in, because he was watching. He was watching on your phone when you'd done that. He is claiming that he has been influencing you in a dream state. You've been meeting in the circle, and he's trying to give you the direction, an answer to a question. There's a question that you have put to the spirit world about your direction. Part of this is linked to your creativity and your spiritual awakening, and part of this is linked to your profession. And he's talking about the fact that the dream is for you to interpret, like catchphrase. This is vivid imagery from the spirit world. Okay, now I don't know the dream, and you don't have to reveal it on here, Sophie, but say it as you see it, like catchphrase. If you saw, for example, a map of Africa, and at the top of the map was Egypt, and then on the map you saw a car, and this was a 4x4 vehicle. There was a an emergency tire on the back. You could think, well, what is it I'm seeing? I'm seeing a car. I'm seeing Egypt, or are you seeing Tyre, the place in Egypt? So look at the actual symbolic imagery of the dream. Break it down. Draw the dream. Okay, a bit like catchphrase, and then think about the words that first comes to you. Right. So Sophie says she did have that metal taste as well, which I think is lovely verification. Derek Acora and many scientists used to say, to the believer, no proof is necessary. And for the believers on the show tonight, hopefully that is a little bit of evidence there for you. To the non-believer, no proof is possible. And I've already disclosed the fact she's my cousin. I know because Sophie, I trust Sophie, that she did have that taste. And I was told by someone claiming to be a grandfather figure that they were going to give us this taste of penny, this metal taste in our mouth. So for me, it's nice verification, and Sophie obviously trusts me. So for her, it should be nice verification as well. Sophie, I'll just finish by saying safe journey home, because I know that you're either in the process of finishing work or doing that, because that was what you put in your question. And just to think about then that father card, because in the same way that you've got the father teaching the skills in the card, you've got this element of symboling the masculine element of each of us. Now, obviously, you are a woman. You're someone that identifies as a woman. But I want to talk about. Okay, yeah, thank you. Your granddad just confirmed for me as well. He came through in particular as opposed to your grandmother, the masculine side of your energy. Okay, now. In 2023, you don't want to masculine or feminize anything, but your grandfather was talking about, in particular, the spirit world as a gift, gives you this gift of strength, protectiveness that can sometimes be stern and repressive. And there's this element of that masculine energy being quite important for you right now, and particularly around authority. So, Sophie, I feel like there's an element for you to stand for authority and for justice at the moment, and that was the other part of your masculine card. So thank you very much, Sophie, for participating tonight. Look forward to getting you back on the show soon. So, folks, you've had the first couple of questions and you've had the first bit of feedback. Simple as that. Ask me a question, absolutely anything, and we'll give you either a bit of a psychic or mediumship message. And the challenge tonight, I'm going to get them to try and work through the senses. So we've had a bit of clairvoyance, and we've had a little bit of now tasting. Now, I've been getting a dream about a plane and a male presence, so that's interesting. Okay, so you've got the masculine energy, you've got the plane, you've got the element of journey. So thank you for that confirmation, Sophie. Draw it out in the bits and the segments you remember, almost like a storyboard, and then write a headline word for each part of that. That's what Grandad said, and it will tell you the story. It's all part about the next chapter that you're on, your journey. Sue McCarthy says, afternoon, everybody from Omaha. I hope I've pronounced that right, Sue. And hello from Canada, Deborah Long. Good evening to you. Bonnie Spencer, good evening to everybody. Hiya, Bonnie. Kelly Rocket. Hello. Rachel Anderson. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Rachel? Lovely Elaine Grout, wonderful spiritualist medium, spiritual worker. Hiya, Elaine. Haley Wells. Do you loved ones feel bad when they can't physically help us here? Oh, lovely question, Haley. I'll talk about it generically, and we'll see if we get a communicator that can talk directly to you, if that's okay. So, Haley, yes, I feel that I feel the frustration. I know that in the spirit world, anything they want to influence within that spirit realm and world, all they need to do is think it, boom, it happens immediately, instantly. They can pretty much travel anywhere they want to go. They can observe, they can view, perhaps remotely, anything that they want, anything that they need. The spirit world is everything they need it to be. And there's a huge frustration that it is much, much harder for them to influence us in the 3D worlds. And they can't physically help. Now, of course, from a point of being a guide or an ambassador or a helper, they can influence us, they can guide us. And the more we ask for their help, the more and the greater the opportunity there is for us to do. But I know that even when we will them to help us physically, and we talk about physical phenomenon in certain circles, it requires an awful amount of effort and energy on their side to do that too. So I certainly know that their personality continues unchanged to the spirit world. And if they're the type of person that wanted to help us while they're alive, then there is a frustration, and at times personalities can become irritated that they can't physically intervene and do stuff. I know that my own grandfather talks about wanting to go on some training, learning and development in the spirit world. He wants to go on a poltergeist course. He wants to know how he can physically halt and upset people that are doing bad things. But I do know that we can physically influence. We have personal responsibility. We have our own free will and accord, an element of destiny at play. But when they can influence us, of course, they can physically change things by inspiring us to do that. So good question, Haley. Hopefully that answers the question. I've got a communicator with me, Haley, that I'll be looking for you to understand. This communicator is a woman. This woman is communicating from your mum's side of the family. She gives me the letter J. My mum was Jackie. I think this is confirmation that this is woman on mum's side of the family. She was a mother. She's also a grandmother. Haley would understand this lady that was a mother and a grandmother, I believe, on mum's side of the family. She's given the letter C, symbolic for a cancerous type condition. She's also talking about the sale. I don't know if she's talking about a place, sale, or Salem. Is she maybe talking about Salem? So she showed me like witchcraft and Halloween. I think there's something significant. We just obviously gone past Halloween. Something significant about that anniversary. Autumn, end of autumn, and I'm out of autumn. Time around Halloween of a significance of passing there. And why was she making reference to Salem? There's something about Salem and the power of free, free. She was just talking about there must be free within the family. How she's talking about free women, and she was delicately calling the witches. That she was talking about the power of attunement, not as in witches, as in wicked old witches. Hayley, if you're able to verify that, I would very much appreciate it. She talks to me about end and close of chapter. In the same way we have birth, we also have death. We just spoke about life after that change we call death. I want to talk about closure because there's this doorway, Hayley, that she was leading me down with you, and she was talking about end of chapter, closure, finish, and there's this mysterious element of burial, I want to say, about holding onto something and burying it, to move on, to overcome, to adapt. Thank you. Flowers, the pathway you're on, surrounded by flowers. There. Oh, she's giving the smells. Okay, right. Okay, we've had the taste of pennies. Hayley. Roses. She's been the smell of roses. She just showed it to me in my mind. She's now telling about roses. Now, I don't think this is something that you're going to smell, but you have smelt. As you come through your front door towards the back of the house and you go to where the kitchen is, there is a place you wash your hands or your dishes. To the left-hand side there, where you wash the dishes, there's like a portal, a window to what looks like outside. There was a rose. There was a rose and a glass. Okay, so I know you haven't been able to verify any of that, Hayley. I'm just going to wrap up the reading. If you are able to confirm, Hayley, then please just verify that. But I've got that smell of the rose there. Hopefully you'd understand your communicator. You'd understand that you've just got towards end of chapter, closure. The flowers are significant. The roses there that I can smell that you would have smelt quite recently. I want a recent addition of this rose and roses in the glass vase by that window as we go towards the back of the back of your house. The mood is somber, and while death is the natural end of life, I want to talk about the fact that she was symbolizing finality, completion, end of chapter. The reminders of resting and the idea of burying and overcoming. There's something within that history. It's now part of your foundation. Overcome and adapt. The implications of rebirth. So we talked about life after that change we call death, and burial, life and rebirth. There's all of those opportunities. So Hayley, hopefully that all made sense to you. That was your question answered, and that was your card and your communicator. Okay, so keep the questions coming, folks. It's some good stuff. Hopefully, it all makes sense. When we're going live, I just kind of surrender myself to the spirit world and trust in them that this all makes sense. But it's lovely to get your verification. There's an element of our ego at play, folks. So some of my own ego. I love getting the verification, particularly when it's a yes. I treat any no as a challenge back to me and my communicators and my guide teams to get better evidence for you. We all need enough ego to get out of bed and get dressed in the morning, don't we? Molly Cronin, Molly Crohan, good evening to you. Can't see any comments there, but good evening. Terry Dawn Carr, hey all. Hiya, Terry. Nice that you're still joining that. Amy, the lovely Amy, hello, good evening to you. I had the great privilege of marrying Amy recently. Obviously, for those that watched the show before, you know I'm happily married to my wife, Claire. But Amy and her wonderful husband got married at Women of Spiritualist Church recently. And I had the great pleasure of officiating as the minister or the celebrant of that ceremony. So there's a lovely photograph there of you two dancing. So thank you for involving me in your life. Is that Shaloa? Magna, I hope I'm pronouncing that. If I'm not pronouncing it right, spell it to me phonetically and I will say that again. But good evening to you. Sheena, I think that was from Australia, wasn't it? Sheena, good evening to you. Helen Mansell from Wiltshire. Hiya, Helen. Gabby, good evening. Gabby Zabrigan. Siobhan Rook, what's the difference between psychic and telepathic? Does one complement the other? Oh, nice question, Siobhan Rook. Telepathic, I believe, is the ability to read minds. Okay, so for me, actually, let me just take one step back. Telepathic, as an umbrella term, would be communication between minds. Okay, so in theory, Siobhan, you and I could be communicating telepathically now. We're not using the human voice, the voice box, or the language of English. We're purely communicating telepathically. Equally, there's an element of the telepathic or the telepathic energy, and we've been able to use my mind and my mind's eye to perhaps remotely travel, remotely view your mind. Now, most of us live in a good protective state, and we've got a guide team that's protecting that. And without consent, it's very difficult to read someone's mind. But there are remote viewers that can go to sites, that can go to locations, and it'd be very rude to look up someone's skirt, wouldn't it? And that's exactly the same as reading someone's mind. So, you know, anyone that has the ability to do that should never do it without consent. But it's always good to protect yourself, just in case there are toxic or negative filters out there. So telepathic, yeah, we can communicate telepathically. No need for the human consciousness to be involved, other than at mind to mind. We're not using voice or language. Whereas the opportunity to read objects using our mind and our mind's eye is more an element of I forgot the actual word for it. Shirley Monaco out of church does an awful lot of this. Telekinesis, moving mind, you know, moving objects perhaps with our mind. But why can't I think of the box? And years ago out of church, you remember them, we used to have a little box, and inside the box was sort of numbered 1 to 20, and people could put objects there, leave it in the box. The medium wouldn't see what was in them, and would pick up the objects and then read them one by one, and would read on that sort of energetic signature. All of that for me is part of that telepathic sort of energy. Psychic, on the other hand, is kind of using ourselves and our body to pick up on things at more of a psychic level. So spiritualist mediumship, I'm involving a communicator. There is evidence of life after death. My mediumship, I am acting as the medium to the personality who has survived the change that their body went through called death, and I'm acting as a medium to you. I'm giving you that sort of evidence. Whereas when I'm working psychically, I'm either reading you, the environment, the situation, or the objects, picking up a card. I'm working predominantly at a psychic level. Sometimes communicators, and this is where I blend my mediumship and psychic level, the communicator will come in and influence that card. Otherwise, it's not so much of a cold reading, it's more of a psychic reading, and we're using all of our body, but we're still working, I often believe, through all of our senses to pick up things at a psychic sort of level. I use a lot more physical energy when I'm working at a psychic level than I do as a medium. The mediumship, the communicator is doing all the kind of hard work, and as a psychic, I'm working at the psychic level. Now, we are Spiritual Psychics TV. Often, as a bit of a trendy word, the word psychic has become quite trendy. And I know that from some research done online, that people looking for psychic mediums when they're looking for first sort of time evidence, and often with a psychic medium, they're hoping that to find out a little bit about what's going on in their life right now, and perhaps even a little bit about the future. Whereas as a medium, we don't do fortune telling. Now, most people would say you don't do fortune telling because the future's not yet happened. However, your communicator can get involved and tell you a little bit about what's going on now, and your communicator can say that from their perception, seeing the big picture, they can see us on a journey, an element of destiny at play. And then, of course, you can throw in the mix of the stars and astrology, tarot cards, oracle cards, or things like that, which suggest that as a result of destiny and the path we're on, there are certain things that are likely to happen. So yes, I think they could all complement each other. They can all be used independently. There are psychics, quite famous in the UK, that talk about not being a medium, not working spirit at all, but often talking still to a communicator. Often you'll see psychic mediums to refer themselves. Bill Hughes, who is the host of the Collective Consciousness show on this channel, does a lot of that, and he talks about being a psychic medium. So lots of us can work as psychic. I often refer to myself as a spiritualist medium. In fact, you can go off and find me, folks, on all of the social channels at Ash Robinson Medium. So go and find me across all of the socials at Ash Robinson Medium. And you'll see I refer to myself as a spiritualist medium, because for me, that's the path I'm on. I'm a spiritualist medium. I'm a spiritual counsellor. I am training to be a spiritualist minister with United Spiritualist Confederation Limited. I'm a spiritualist celebrant right now. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't work at a psychic level. It just means that from a label point of view, I am more comfortable right now, this time of my life, referring to myself as a spiritualist. But I do know that psychic is actually a bit more trendy. And I've had algorithms from the internet say you should refer to yourself more as a psychic medium. Other people do. But labels, they're private, absolutely private, Siobhan. So we choose our own labels. So you've not been able to verify that. I'm going to move on to the next question. Thank you, Siobhan. Hiya, Benny. Good evening to you, my friend. Elena Robinson. Good evening from South Africa. No known obvious links to family heritage, Elena, but from one Robinson family to another, I send you love from my house to yours. Maxine says, hi, Ash. Hiya, Maxine, joining us on Facebook tonight. Di Redman, hello, everybody. Jody Ashley, great middle name, that. Good evening to you, Jody. Suzanne Dominikowicz, good evening to you, Suzanne. Karen Davis Carden, hello from Australia. G'day. Some friends and family living in Australia at the moment, and family visiting family out there. Ange, hope you're all well. Debbie Kerr, hi, just joined you. Well, good evening, Debbie Kerr, and welcome to the show tonight. Mo May has a question. Good evening, Mo. Question. A medium told me I go on the astral plane when I'm dreaming, and I wake up while still dreaming and see spirit as a result in my dreams on waking. Can you explain further? Lots of different ways of explaining that. From an astral plane and the sort of the dreaming, some people also refer to this as like a remote viewing, but quite simply, our body is a vessel for our personality, consciousness. And at the point of conception, when we are being created as a human experience, it takes about 9 months of continued sort of biology in evolution, and if you like, little miracles to happen every single day. And after about 6 months, before the 9 months and the baby is born, there is this interfacing of our personality, our soul, joining the physical body. Now, at the astral plane or in our dream state, I believe that it's possible for the personality, the consciousness, certainly the higher self, to go on a bit of a wander, while the body gets a very well needed rest and investment. We can go off and keep the mind occupied. We can meet with people in other planes. Now, if we talk about this world, this physical human experience as the third dimension, then I've been told that the fourth dimension is a bit of a meeting place, a bit of a limbo. And actually, if heaven exists in the fifth dimension, which I believe it could do, then the fourth dimension is where we sort of go and meet, and we can go for a bit of a wander. But there are lots of different realms. Lots of them have different names. I always think about this, I say, as the 3D, 4D being my sort of limbo and that meeting place, and the fifth dimension being heaven. There are other realms, you know, dragons and fairies and Pegasus and things like that, animal sort of kingdom existing. But I do believe there is one life after this life, and all those realms, a bit like Jesus was quoted as saying, in God's house, my Father makes many mansions, or some words to that effect. My dad quotes this all the time, and I always seem to misquote it. But it's all about a house within many mansions, or a mansion within many houses, lots of rooms, lots of places, one after life, one life after this life, but lots of different variations, flavors, dimensions. So when you talk about going on the astral plane when dreaming, I think that's just an opportunity for your consciousness, your personality, to go for a little bit of a wander. And actually, in that dream state, that astral plane, people, friends, family, inspirers, guides can come up and meet us. Now, when we wake up and we're conscious, we're back firmly in that 3D world. You sometimes hear about mediums talking about an element of control or trance-like state, where perhaps they move their personality and consciousness into that astral plane too. So you can exist in more than one place at the same time. If you're seeing spirit while you're dreaming, and you can see spirit when you come back, that can also be an element of attunement. So when I work like I am tonight as a spiritualist medium, allowing my mind to open up, to attune to those fourth and fifth dimensions, where I can start to be influenced within my mind's eye, my pineal gland, that sort of place. Closing my eyes now just to help me concentrate, so I'm not taking in the 3D world, and I'm taking a bit of a steer from my own guide team, my executive committee. chaired by the Mr. Ralph A. Steadman. Bear, one of the more gobby members of my team, a Native American Indian from the 1700s in Virginia. And the other, also this evening, Cy, and a guy called Giles. Now, Giles was an American philosopher and professor. In the 1970s, I believe, had a more earthly experience. All of them coming in quite this. I say Bear was being particularly gobby on this in his terms, because he believes that that's the sort of state he could have got to by smoking particular herbs and pipes and other bits and pieces. So yeah, when we can attune both in this state and the next state. Mo goes on to say, I feel that I do wander in my dreams, especially back to my childhood home and reuniting departed family that was there. Good. So that's a nice bit of verification for you, and hopefully that makes quite sense. Now, I've just drawn a card for you. This card here. Get the zoom just right. There we go. Okay, Sage. Within this card, you've got the old wise monk. There he is in the library and the halls of learning. Now, we often associate sage with the elements that we talk about, saging things out, removing toxic things or negative things from our life. But this aged monk sits at his desk making notes and sketches. As part of that, all around him, the artifacts which symbolize ancient wisdom. So I want to surround you by the ancient wisdom of the spirit world. Now, because of what we just talked in, I think that I want to talk a little bit about the Acacia records and the halls of learning. And I've been inspired to pick this card for you because this card stands for wisdom. Learning, advancement, and attunement, all a part of your spiritual awakening, but also about your continued progression within this life in your earthly experience. It's perhaps advising us to draw from the traditional store of wisdom that's come down through the ages, but it stands for revived authority, for family traditions, for precedence. And I want to say that I want to continue to inspire you. So even though we think about the sage, that's slightly different to sage, or sage sticks this element of toxic in your life, I want to talk about your continued ability to learn. We can go there to the halls of learning. We can access the archive records, and we can also go back and access memories and reunite with departed families therein. So Mo, hopefully I've answered your question, and that makes sense in terms of the card that I drew for you there. And although I work directly, Mo, with my guide team, I did work with a specific communicator, and go back to other question, because it was more of a psychic reading. It doesn't mean that there was an element of me not working as a medium, because once I open up as a mediumship, I'm starting to attune to those planes. Thank you very much, Mo. Lovely question from you. And I love that picture of the robin. Growing up as a kid, my nan used to talk about robins as little messengers from heaven. Now, while I don't believe that spirit reincarnate as robins, I do think that the spirit world can influence the animal kingdom in the same way they can us. And sometimes I think that they send birds, if we believe in birds, as little messengers. And if we're thinking about that person, that's that vivid imagery of them. Thank you, Mo. Great question, and hopefully that all makes sense to you. Okay, so we'll take the next question and next reading. Okay. Right, I've just found out that Siobhan Rook was able to verify the answer to her question, and she is with us. So, Siobhan, I'll just draw a card for you as well. The card I've drawn for you is the card Work. Okay, and as we look at this card here, you've got all of these machine cogs all working together, apart from the brass cog on its own, living its own little world. Now, all of the cogs are driven by this chain, and within that chain, Miss O'Rook, I think, and I want to very authoritative there, like you were the boss. And I just heard someone saying the boss lady. She the boss lady. Siobhan is here. I'm glad you're here. So I want to talk about work. I want to talk about the cogs, and I want to talk about you. I want to talk about you as leader one, you as the boss, the boss. And I was having someone with quite a southern accent. Not that I was doing a particularly good replication of that, but the pattern of in-connecting wheels and cogs that make up this complex, I suppose in modern terms, ancient machine now, but with one small cutting edge wheel untouched by the rest. You at the center there, Siobhan, being driven, driving the chain and driving the machine, the cogs, all these little cogs all working together. I want to talk about you emerging as a leader, because leaders cannot be made. followers choose leaders. I want to talk about an element of people choosing to follow you right now. Recognition as well that you are at the heart of this machine, driving the cogs, driving the wheels, as well as all of the machines coming together, all of the small moving pieces coming together as part of something bigger. So hopefully that makes sense for you as well, Siobhan. MacArthur Davey, hello, good evening to you. Trudy Panko, hello, hiya Trudy. Andrea Reese, good evening to you. Lovely multicolour of hearts there, absolutely beautiful. Sending you all some love, light, and some laughter. Mo May says, great answer, many thanks. You are most welcome, Mo. And I hope the card made sense for you too. Michelle Gregory says, please may I have a card reading. I'm going to make an exception. I say, got to ask a question. I'm going to trust you to follow this up with a good spiritualist question, because the card I draw for you is the card of the stars. Okay, so I'm drawing a card for you. It's number 22, and I want to talk about the significance of number 22 within the stars. Okay, because I feel like the number 22 is particularly important for you, and I want to talk about patterns. I want to talk about the number 2 repeating. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. The patterns and aspects of astrological chart is imposed on the star-studded mystery of the night sky. So it's dark and it's evening here in the UK at the moment. I want to talk about the significance of number 2, and we sometimes talk about the numbers as angel numbers, don't we? I don't know if you've come across that term before. I don't do sort of angel cards, but I do. I'm fascinated by neurology and sort of numbers and the things that they meet. 222 is linked with nurturing and creative energy. And as I gave you 22, it was repeating 222, 222, 222, and I kept seeing that 22. So I feel that the card number and the stars is quite important. I want to talk about the collaborations. Okay, it's an angel number for collaborations, but creative energy, the number urges the person to learn and to grow, while also trusting yourself in the present situation. And I want to talk as an element about you reaching for the stars. Okay, within that night sky, we need some clarity, because too much light pollution, too much cloud, you can't see what's right in front of you. I want to say, look up for the bright star, follow that star, follow the direction, head towards utopia in pursuit of paradise, of utopia. And if you can't see all of the cards, move out of the light pollution, move into somewhere less toxic, because from an individual's deepest aspirations and inner goals for the heights of the intellectual and the artistic achievements, together with external parts of fortune, the astrological cycle that we pass through over and over again, continuing through our lives, and the stars being quite dependent. So, Michelle, I hope you follow that up with a spiritual question. If not, I think there's a meaning there about reaching high, reaching for those stars, and moving if necessary to see what is right in front of you around your pursuit of happiness. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, we'll take the next couple of questions. Dina Jones, sending love. Love right back at you. Like captain of the ship there. I want to salute you back. Julie Flory, how can I connect more to my guides? Just do as you do. Keep on keeping on, Julie. I don't know at what point you are on your spiritual journey, if you've undertaken any formal training. Highly recommended you go and find your local spiritualist church or centre, or at the very least, read about this. But through meditation, through dream states, you can start to go to, what I refer to as meeting circles, working with your gatekeepers between this world and the next world. And I'm glad you used the word plural, guides. We all have at least one principal guide that is with us from our point of creation right through to our point of transition after the body go through, called death. We also have guides that come at different points of our life to help us with different things. Julie, I feel that okay, thank you. Right, thank you. Right, so one of my guides, Bob, who was my godfather in this earthly life, continues to support me from a mediumship point of view. And Bob was just saying that you are already working at spiritual level, because I asked a question. As a medium, we don't ask questions, and Bob just told me that you are working at a spiritual level, and indeed he has a guide here with you. Now, we did a show a couple of weeks ago called Meet Your Guides. So, Julie, if you go back, I think it might have even been the last show that Richard and I done at the end of September. Go back and play back later tonight. It was all about meeting your guides. There was a gatekeeper meditation there. Go through, and when you've got the time is right, I think you've got young ones possibly from the photograph as opposed to Spirit World. Find the right time. Go and do that gatekeeper meditation. Go and find one of your guides. Get them to introduce yourselves and start to repeat it. Now, on that show, we explored the art of the possible in regards to artificial intelligence. We did this again at Stratford upon Avon and had some fantastic results. I think it's very difficult from an evidential point of view, and Richard and I will continue to explore that. One of the things I thought we might try and do, we've worked with a couple of psychic artists. I myself have worked with my cousin Sophie, the lovely Helen. I wonder if we could do some sort of psychic art with artificial intelligence by getting spirit to describe themselves with component parts, so that you might get an artistic impression of what they might look like. So it's very important. I think it's almost impossible for artificial intelligence to draw an actual accurate portrait of your loved ones from the spirit world. From guides, again, artistic impression. It's the artistic impression of artificial intelligence. That's another way of doing it, Julie. There are spiritualist psychic artists that will claim to be able to draw your guides and tell you more about your. We've certainly done that on this show. We've done it with consent. There are old school sort of spiritual people that say, "Oh, you can only ever meet your own guides. You must never have a guide given to you." I don't necessarily that, and although I've got at least one principal guide with me, who I still don't know that well, the ripe old age of 41 and being born in spiritualism, my first mediumship given to me by a circle leader in my first circle. And it was a lady called Jill Hay, who now resides in that place I call heaven. And she introduced Bob to me, or should I say, introduced Bob to me, because she also knew Bob, and she knew, because Bob was telling her as a communicator, that he was working with me in my mediumship. And for the first few years as a developer, I assumed that Bob was therefore my mediumship guide, only to later discover that Bear, or Running Bear, or running Bear by Running Water, was actually my principal mediumship guide. He'd been there the entire time. And it was less important for him at the time to be that identified to. So I do think there'll be loved ones that may choose to work with us and guide us. There'll be a principal guide. Guides that come along to help us through different stages of our life, much like we get the teachers that join us at different points in this life. Julie. Okay. Fortune. This card here, number 2. Okay. You see there the man or the lady with the lantern ascending a winding staircase, armed with the lantern to see in front of them. Now, winding staircases, in medieval terms, were often designed a bit of defense. In the event you breached the outer walls and you were into the towers, having the higher ground could have made the difference between your life or death. So those defending from higher ground made it really difficult for people trying to get into the castle and up the staircases. They were very narrow. It was very difficult to hold both a sword and shield. And as you were winding the staircase, perhaps with your left hand and your sword in the right hand, it's very difficult to sort of get in and up and round the corner. They were quite dark. It was difficult to see what was in front of you as you were winding it. But armed with this lantern, you will seek for that which was lost, which was the knowledge of your guides and your guide team, Jury. Your fortune awaits you at the top of that staircase. So keep on keeping on. Do exactly what you're doing. Keep challenging them. Keep asking for vivid imagery for evidence of your guide team. Okay, Julie, so hopefully I've answered your question and that makes sense for you. We'll do another question, and then we're going to take some we're going to show you some adverts. We're going to show you some wonderful things that are happening in and around Spiritual Psychics TV. If you haven't already found us in all the socials, as well as looking for me, hiya, Sarah, Louise, Rosa. Hello to you. SPTV UK. Find us across all the socials. Some of you are watching on Facebook and YouTube tonight. Mary Dixie says she was sorry she didn't get on the show at the start. She was doing other things. No worry, Mary Dixie. Good to have you here. Mary was one of my most recent circle leaders. MacArthur Davey, waving or high-fiving. Virtual 5. Virtual 5 to you. Okay, Sharon Wright. A bit of help, please. I recently had a reading and had an animal come through. It was an imaginary friend animal I had as a child. I used to see it all the time and was with me all the time, but faded as I grew up. Does this mean it was all real? Was it a spirit animal or something like that? Well, without getting right into your personal life, Sharon, I'll give you the hypothetical and I'll see if I then pick up anything mediumship for you. Okay, I think I'm going to as well. I'm going to use the senses. Right, Sharon, so yes, lots of experiences, very young children. Remember, of course, that I believe we've just come from that place I call heaven. We've just incarnated, so we're much closer attuned to that sort of energy. Our personality was there, it went through heaven's gate into this third dimensional world. So as children, naturally, I think we're quite attuned to other things that we don't pick up on all of our senses. We're very dependent as a baby and as a child, people to feed us and keep us safe and keep us dry and keep us warm, house over, roof over our home and that sort of stuff. So I think, yeah, lots of imaginary friends can be us attuned to the spirit world. And the fact that you have this imaginary friend animal, which you've then used to see all the time, it could be real. Yeah, absolutely. I think hypothetically it is possible. And that's all hypothetical. And I said, would I get a communicator for you? And again, I'm not Dr. Doolittle. But I do have a man with me. This man is claiming to be family, Sharon. I know that you're Sharon Wright, Sierra Whiskey, SW. They're also giving me the letters S. Okay, there is another SW, Sharon, on Dad's side of the family, a man. This man has had an impact on his head. I don't know if he's had a stroke of some, yes, okay. It's some sort of bleed or aneurysm within his brain that has caused him. I've had this impact around my head. I've also had what he's describing as some sort of clot. I don't know if I've had a tumorous, sort of cancerous type condition that has affected my head and brain. But the letters S and W would be important on Dad's side of the family, Sharon. I'm also seeing the name Steve, and I'm seeing it as opposed to hearing it. So I'm seeing it in my head. Now, we've done some seeing, we've done some hearing, we've done some smelling, we've done some tasting. Sharon, he's just given me out his hands. Okay, and I'm feeling his hands, and he has rough fingertips, well worked hand. This man worked with his hands, and he tells me he didn't wear gloves and they were rough. His fingerprints almost eroded. Lots and lots of working outdoors, outside, across different conditions, and he was giving me the feeling of touching his hands just now. And he is telling me, Sharon, that if you can verify him, this will be even greater evidence for me and for you that yes, your imaginary friend animal was indeed a spirit helper from the spirit kingdom of animals in that spirit world. You talk about the fact that you had a reading when the animal came through, and you believe that that was the imaginary friend animal. Now, I want to say that you've mentioned animal, this communicator that gives him the letters S and W, that also talks about a symbolic anniversary, February, and the numbers 1 and 7. I don't know if he's quite simply trying to make 8, he's talking about the 17th, but he's talking about an anniversary in February. He's talking about animals being around you. Okay, there is a bird, and this bird is like some sort of beautiful exotic bird, a bit like a parrot on your shoulder. I've got an animal of a dog, a small dog with whiskey colored brown fur that is quite close to your feet. And I've got this dog that's very yappy sort of mentality, much bigger personality and ego than the fish shell and vessel that is this little dog. And I've also got a little cat with you, a little tabby cat. And these are animals all from the spirit world that come with me right now through this man that claims to know you. They're talking about being very safe at your feet. This cat is a real wind-up merchant, is constantly winding up the yappy dog. But the cat doesn't have any fear of retribution or violence from this dog. Should understand the significance of the exotic bird as well as the cat. Sharon, you don't recognize the name Steve, but do you recognize the letters S and W? S and W. I think that Steve was a clue to me about military service. Okay, Sharon, you'd understand this man in the spirit world. The letters S and W are also important to you. I know that you're SW. There's another SW, Dad's side of the family, and you've got a man with the head injury. You've also got a man with military experience, served, and someone that served. And I know we're approaching Remembrance Day. Tomorrow will be the 11th day of the 11th month. And at the 11th hour, folks, we will not forget. We will remember them. We pray for world peace. At a time where there is pockets of hatred, we as the majority must remember that with unconditional love, we have the ability to influence and inspire these human experiences. We will remember them, not for their sacrifices. We hope that we don't go anywhere near the territory of other world war situations. What we're seeing right now requires calm. The leaders need inspiration to look for all peaceful resolutions. We'll send love, light, and healing thoughts to all of those people. So Sharon, I hope you understand your message and that sensation of person with the working hands. The animal from my part was a horse, okay, and that was the evidence you got from the message, and that you understand then the significance of these other animals around you. Good, thank you, Sharon. Folks, we're going to take a few adverts now just to tell you about some of the other amazing shows. That when I say it like that, it makes it sound like this is an amazing show. Hopefully you do think this is an amazing show. But on Spiritual Psychics TV, let's find out what's happening. Okay. I don't think the adverts are quite playing yet.
Join us at the Bognor Regis Spiritualist Centre for a captivating...
for the adverts to play. That's okay.
Join us at the Bognor Regis Spiritualist Centre for a captivating mediumship demonstration on Saturday, the 11th November, from 7:30 p.m. Experience an evening of connection with the spiritual realms, featuring the talents of Bill Hughes, David Hale, and Caroline Johnson. For more information and to book tickets, please visit bognorspiritualistcentre.co.uk.
The SPTV Divine Guidance Oracle Pack, a unique blend of inspiration and artistic beauty. Our captivating set of 78 cards combines the power of ancient archetypes, celestial guidance, and the essence of life itself to provide you with a unique tool for self-discovery, clarity, and transformation, all lovingly housed within an exclusive rigid box. The pack includes a booklet that delves into every card in detail, some of which carry dual meanings for deeper interpretation. The booklet also features 8 distinctive card spread layouts. Among these treasures, you'll discover 22 major arcana, 9 main archangels, 4 elements, and 40 life cards, each a work of art, radiating beauty and delivering profound messages that resonate deeply within your being. The SPTV Divine Guidance Pack, where beauty meets enlightenment. Pre-order today and unlock the extraordinary wisdom that awaits you. To be among the pioneers in experiencing our forthcoming collection and to reserve your pack in advance, as well as to access more details, including a sample audio description, kindly visit sptv.uk/cards.
Tomorrow night from 8 p.m, SPTV is joined by another guest who will be demonstrating their mediumship abilities by offering free readings to our viewers. This Sunday from 11 a.m, Wimbledon Spiritualist Church hosts the Divine Service, with online and on-location readings.
Hello, folks, and welcome back. Sharon was just giving verification. Possibly her uncle was a prisoner of war in Italy, and you'd understand why he was talking, influencing me then about the remembrance. Sharon, perhaps. So thank you for asking that question. So lots of great things happening on Spiritual Psychics TV. Mandy Frogley says hi. Got a wag car there. Wives and girlfriend of the XC60. Cheryl Daniels, we will remember. Yes, we will, Sherry, absolutely. Sherry Daniels is my granddad's favourite drink, sherry. Jack Daniels mine. That's a great name, isn't it? And my granddad was here, just reminding me of that. He's obviously having a tipple in the spirit world this evening. Jarcia Arnett, good evening to you. Baby brother forever in my heart, says in your picture there. Thinking of you and you both. Thank you for sharing the rainbows and the hearts. Andrea Hollis, hi Ashley. when somebody passes, are they like an energy light? Well, I believe we're all energy now, Andrea. I mean, going back to GCSE science in 1999, I remember that everything's made of atoms, that which makes us. So we're made of atoms. We are energy. In the beginning was energy. At the end will be energy. We know we can't destroy energy. We know we can't truly create it, but we can change it. So the body is our vessel for our personality. The body goes through a change. We call that change death, and it is end of the vessel, end of the body. And the body could be cremated, it could be buried, it could be used for medical science. But the personality continues. That energy changes. So when we pass over, our personality, as more of a pure energy form, continues, and it continues to exist. So therefore, it's not really going somewhere else as opposed to going through a change. And as an energy light, therefore, I believe that the personality, the absence or presence of the personality, is the difference between a human being and a corpse. So as we become that pure of energy, we're exactly where we are, which means that heaven is exactly where we are. If you believe in a hell, that hell is exactly where we are, but there are different dimensions, different frequencies, because energy vibrates at different speeds, and that means we can hear it, sort of see it, interpret it, feel it, all at different things. And as our pure personality, a spirit being, our energy vibrates at a different frequency, more in a kind with that transition into the fourth and then perhaps the fifth dimension. People talk about light. I think that most personalities are full of love and light and unconditional love, and that heaven is a place of unconditional love, and that the more you progress, and there is a pathway of progression open for us all as the personality continues unchanged. If you weren't a full light, if you had a bit of darkness, if you attracted darkness, if you were a negative person, then you're not going to be able to progress immediately. But there is a path open to you all, and that's actually energy light that passes forward. Okay, so on. Oh, okay, thank you. I was trying to say your name and I got stuck. Take that away. Right, Andrea. I've got a woman that's communicating with me. Okay, take that away. This woman had a speech problem towards the end of her life. Something about her teeth. This woman was family. She had false teeth, and okay, take that away. She keeps. We asked for sentences today. She's giving me this incredible sensation with her teeth and difficult to speak. She's also talking about the fact that something happened. There was an okay, thank you. She stutters. She's stuttering with this. She's like, and she was stuttering to try and give me that sensation. So she's letting me feel what she was feeling. And there was a lot of panic and irritation with this lady because she didn't like it. She was consciously aware of the fact that she couldn't get all of her words out, particularly when she was dehydrated and fatigued. There was some sort of interruption of the circulation of blood and oxygen that caused, well, I suppose, what we would describe as a bit of a stroke, but affected her speech. And there was a small speech impediment towards the end of her life. It was very frustrating and irritating for her, Andrea. This woman is family. She is a mother. She is a grandmother. She's a sister. She's talking about being a sibling. She's talking about being an auntie, as well as having these life-limiting conditions. She's talking about a pneumonia type infection, chest infection that she has had at the very end of her life, and fluid on her lungs and scarring, and this causing big problems, sensation around that, and heart failure being one of the things. She said it all packed in at the end. Heart failure was the last sort of part of that, getting over this sort of pneumonia type condition. So Andrea, I would like you to give verification. You understand this female communicator that's communicating with me now. She's talking about adding dye to her hair going much lighter towards the end of the life. Not that you would have known because I added color to it. Okay, my mum and my nan in the spirit world. Okay. Got the letter D with her. D for Delta, Andrea, and the month of March. Mum and March is quite important with her, and the speech. But two. The number 2 is important. We were 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Give me that number again. Okay, take that number away. Yeah, Andrea, you would understand this. Debbie, Deborah, Debbie, Deb, and Dad. Okay, so you'd understand that letter D. You'd understand the significance of March. and the number 2. I feel like beginning of March is quite important as well. Just think about feeling again. So we're working through the senses. I needed to take time in order to get my words out. I needed to take time. I took my time from you. Okay, this communicator Andrea is talking about the fact that recent was old lady Julia passed. She had all those conditions. Okay. Okay, holding my hand. She's giving me her right hand, Andrea. She's talking about you holding her right hand, and as you did, it's like you cupped her fingers. And she's showing me, she's giving that feeling, and you squeezed my fingers, and I know with my thumb, I tapped. March, my son and me. Okay. And she was just giving that confirmation at the end of life for her, Andrea, of her remembering that and the impact you had with her. Deb, close friend, and Dad died. Okay. Thank you for verifying. The beast. The beast is out of the cage. Number 2, where you live. Okay, great. So I'm glad that all of that makes sense to you. Yes, was Julia. Okay, thank you. Right. Right, I'm sending you a protector beast, a dragon, a red dragon. I've got the elements of fire, and I'm surrounding you with fire for protection, like a firewall. I'm stopping any sort of attack or intrusive nature coming near you. Fearful and malevolent, this dragon is there to protect you. It represents the challenge of facing up to evil, you going toe-to-toe with Dr. Evil. This woman just said to me, Dr. Evil, you've gone toe-to-toe with Dr. Evil and you worked well. You should have seen them. It stands for confrontation, as in element of you confronting. She's calling them the devil, but confronting Dr. Evil. There was obviously a bad person, toxic person. The dragon is here to continue to protect you. She's saying that they were quite powerful, dark forces of an unconscious mind with a bad temper, spiteful side of natures and others, Andrea. And you would be aware of this person that we're talking about. And I want to talk about the fact that you have confronted, you have won, you've done the dance with the devil. She keeps using this letter D, but very proud of you. Keep on keeping on. Resilience is there. Your medieval cloak of resilience, the warrior sort of creed, all of that strand. But the dragon is there. I bring this dragon with me to continue to protect you. I warm you up with that sense of fire, and I liven your life. So, Andrea, hopefully you understand the last part of your message there. Thank you for all the confirmation about the other evidence that they gave you, and that sort of confirmation. And you say, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure to read for you, Andrea, and others on the show tonight. I'm Ashley Robinson. This has been Being Spiritual. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you this evening, folks. Please do make sure that you subscribe now. Click that subscribe button. Make sure you've turned on the alarm bell, that you get the notifications. Are you an Android phone user and also on the Facebook fan page? If so, we are testing a pilot. We've got the SPTV app for Android users. You'll be able to explore that. Otherwise, folks, head over to Facebook fan page, find us, interact and engage with your interactive congregation that's been this evening. You've all been wonderful. You've been absolutely beautiful. If you are on YouTube, make sure you've switched on those notifications. Find us across all the other socials. How many of you are TikTokers? We're experimenting with TikTok. Ash Robinson Medium, SPTV UK. Head over and find all of those channels. My website, which is very boring, and just a link to my socials, is ashleyr.co.uk. And the last thing I wanted to tell you about was Spirit Seeker. So on SPTV UK and My Spiritual Events, which is a wonderful platform. Any of you are running church centres, running special events, mediumship nights, My Spiritual Events gives you an incredible platform to sell your tickets and make a couple of quid for your church centres. The tickets reverse the charges, so effectively the church and the centres are earning all the money out the ticket, and you as wonderful people that buy the tickets are paying for your ticket, and you're paying the PayPal charge that makes the transaction quite secure. But Spirit Seeker, which I spoke about beginning of show, is our spiritual and psychic weekend. There'll be some opportunities to collaborate with SPTV UK. Now, our Spiritual Psychic Weekend is already sold out for October next year, but we're looking at collaboration opportunities with SPTV hosts and other communicators. Is that the sort of thing that you're interested in? Then be vocal, folk. Tell us on the Facebook fan page, interact with us. And the other way that you can support this channel, it's 100% free, folks. Never send us stars. Facebook take your money for that. Just give us your love, give us your heart, give us the thumbs up, share this stream, help us build the congregation. Absolutely do all of that. If you want to financially invest in the show, then what you can do is become a patron. A very important person. Oh, hello, Karen. Spiritual Psychics TV, and you can donate a couple of quid each month towards the upkeep of the technology, the hardware, the infrastructure that goes in. Richard's given up his time as well to produce an incredible variety of content for you, folks. You've been absolutely amazing. This has been on Spiritual Psychics TV. This is Being Spiritual, and I'm Ashley Robinson. Good night and God bless.